Hello. Hey.
Ashley, I can hear you.
Oh, hey. Yay. Okay, the thing I'm trying to figure out is if Mark needs to. Does it say I'm the host anywhere? Let's see. Can I change? Weird. Wait, Aaron, can you talk? No, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Aaron.
Before anyone else gets here, I just have to show you. You'll get a kick out of this. So this sweater that I'm wearing shrunk big time. It works for Zoom because it's like a crop top.
It's just for your boobs now.
That's awesome.
I have no idea. I put it on this morning and I was like, what happened? It's like the arms are still fine, but
just
if it makes you feel better,
idea.
I did that with a pair of pants too. And my little cousin and my aunt were just here visiting. And I was just like, here, she's 16. And I was like, here, you want to try these pants on? Because I just got them for Christmas last year and now they don't fit me anymore. And they fit her like perfect. I was like, damn it.
Well, at least you they get to go to someone. I was like, I don't even know. I mean, it's so short. I don't even know who, like, and I don't rock crop tops besides on Zoom where you can't see this. So if anyone, actually, I feel like you could rock. Do either of you have any? Do you have any use for this?
I'm not really. I don't really like to bare my midriff, man. Those
Me either.
rules and school really got to me.
It's very I feel very exposed. Yeah.
It's so weird. This is such a I want to make it like gallery view. Is there a way to do that, or
I think grid. I have it in grid view.
how did you do that?
Up, are you on your computer? Up at the right-hand corner, there's the leftmost circle, probably.
Oh, meeting details?
Let me see. It says grid view, active speaker, and thumbnail view, or active speaker video, or a floating panel view. I don't know what that is.
I just can't get a hold of Mark, and I just want to make sure that, like, we can make but I guess it doesn't matter. Nathan, just like how you all can talk, Nathan, Lorena, and Scott can just pop on, and everyone can screen share, it looks like, huh? Yeah.
Emily, did you want to do the intro to Nathan? Since you're on here? I'm happy to do it, but Ashley and I were just kind of parsing out introductions.
Oh, you're muted.
We can't hear you.
Hello, we can't, we can't hear you. Wait, hold on. I think I can unmute her.
Can we unmute?
I can unmute. There she goes. Wait, unmute. Oh no, she can't. I can't unmute her. See, I'm not a, what's it called?
Can you unmute yourself, Emily?
Emily.
You're muted right now.
I just want to make it a gallery view.
Uh-oh, she's left. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to take 2 seconds and
Go.
write this thing out.
Okay. I can do it. It's no big deal.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, personally, I would love for you to do it, but I also understand if you want to share it, you don't have to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I want to share it, but if it's like, I understand it was a lot.
No, it's all good.
You could have asked her, and like,
No, it's just been one of those days, and I'm going offline tomorrow, so I'm like in overdrive today. That's why I'm like,
oh, I see. Yeah. Dude, just be like, we're the SDLA. We're here building a more progressive movement about BYOB event,
Yeah.
and I'm pleased to introduce our guest speakers in San Diego, Lorena, and then just say their title. That's all. Yeah. I mean, say who you are. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Like, I want to make this look different here, and it seems to not let me.
Hey, do you know if there's a call-in link?
I don't. Let me see. Let me look at the email that I got. That was the.
Okay, I'm just concerned about Nathan.
It doesn't say that there's a call-in. There's no. I don't see a number listed.
Okay, where?
Is it Mark, Ashley, who could help with that? You're muted now, Ashley. Hi, Carol. Hi, Remy.
Hi,
Remy.
I'm sending you the number right now.
Okay, thanks, Ashley.
I think this is. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not an.
Hi, Remy.
Hold on. No, I'm not seeing a number. Is the what's it called not working for them?
Well, I'm just concerned that Nathan's going to call in from his phone, and I just tried it on my phone and it didn't work. But it works on my laptop, but it just doesn't work on my phone.
Mm.
And that's the problem with WebEx occasionally.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a hold of Mark right now.
Okay.
I called and texted him. Hey, 2 things. Are you gonna hop on? Yeah, but we need to. None of us can be.
No, I'm talking to them.
Guest hosts and stuff.
Okay, hold on. Let me see this. 145-878-0637. Oh, here. Okay, maybe this will work. Maybe. Hold on. 1-415-655-002. 0002. Oops. Okay. And then *01 *145-878. Oh God, this is a fucking mess. Oh my God. I mean, Nathan should not do things like
I should go put on a t-shirt. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'm emailing you the phone number right now.
All right. Let me go change real quick.
Mark, it's 5:57. We'll get started in just a few minutes.
A little more presentable now. Hey, Remy. I thought this thing starts at 6:30.
6 o'clock, we're starting. Everybody's on.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll get started momentarily.
All right, Ashley, I'm making you a co-host. Should I make somebody else a co-host as well? Aaron, obviously.
Thanks, Tech Advisor Mark. Mark is our SDLA treasurer, and he's doubling as Tech Master for us in the COVID era.
I'm trying.
Ashley?
Yes?
We're here. We're driving.
Oh, thank you for being here.
It's just going to be a little awkward. We're trying to multitask.
As long as you're driving safely, that's all that matters.
Nathan's driving. I'm just
there you go.
The camera operator, which is not good. But we'll try.
There you go. Just hold it right there.
Oh, yeah, just hold it right there. Okay, we're going to put it pause till you need us.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's cute.
Yeah.
You know, reading some of these ballot statements, they forgot to check for typos.
Call them out. Which one?
I think there was a mad rush and unpreparedness.
So my big one is for Benway. So he misspelled the governor's last name, and you think, you know, he works for the governor, right? Like, you know how to spell Newsom, but he spelled it incorrectly.
Is there a place you can write in about, like, what do you do about that? Nothing.
Nothing. It's been printed. I mean, he paid his $5,000.
Hey, Scott.
I feel like I'm in Chapo's Trap House now.
All right, we'll wait just a couple minutes. Okay. Aaron, if you want to kick us off, I guess we can get started with the intro part. You're on mute.
Oh man, I did like the cardinal thing you're not supposed to do. We started the introduction on mute. Hi everyone, my name is Erin Hogaboom. I am, along with Ashley, co-president of the San Diego Leadership Alliance, currently serving on your board. So thank you so much for being here tonight. Really want to thank you for joining us tonight of all nights, when if you, like me, are a Padres fan and they are in the third game of a 5-game series, where if we beat the Dodgers, we will advance to the playoffs for the World Series. So it's a big night, and we understand if you've got that going in the background, and we appreciate you taking the time to be with us and inform yourself of the very, very probably most important ballot that you will have before you this November. I want to start off with an acknowledgement of the land that we're on. No matter where we are across the county, this was Indigenous land first, and we have a responsibility to all communities across our region and to acknowledge that. As many of you know, this event is being hosted by the San Diego Leadership Alliance. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit committed to developing San Diego's progressive leadership. And speaking of progressive leadership, I'm pleased to introduce the progressive power couple of our region, Assemblymember Lorena Gonzalez-Fletcher and Supervisor Fletcher, who will be kicking off our introduction. So I think that they are multitasking right now, but I'm going to put the mic on them and have them go ahead and kick us off here.
There we are. Okay, we are definitely multitasking in the car. Nathan is driving, and we're trying to get us both in the shot. So,
There you go.
there we are. We have a car full of boys, but we're glad we could kick this off with you. We want to make sure to tell everybody how important, of course, it is to vote, to be informed on kind of what you're voting on, to make sure you're actually doing the due diligence. And it's not easy. I have to be honest. I just today was trying to go back and forth on Prop 24. That's one of the propositions on the ballot that everybody's been asking me about, and I didn't quite understand, and still kind of understand where I land. Sometimes you have to do some really, really deep digging. That's the important and fun part, I guess, of every election.
Yeah, no, I mean, we think every election, we always say, like, this is the most important election ever. This one feels like it. Both nationally, obviously, it's important that California vote there is really important, but it's not going to sway the outcome. But here locally, I mean, look, we're going to determine the future direction of the Board of Supervisors. In California, we're going to weigh in, obviously, our new mayor. And the ballot measures are important. Prop 15, I believe, is important to right-size our funding and what we do. Prop 22 is important to me and someone else in the car who's with me. And these are important elections. And the nature of direct democracy, we have the most pervasive direct democracy in America, and we vote on a lot of things. And so work your way through those. I know you have a great forum. It's just really great to see people get together and talk about ballot measures and candidates and campaigns. So super important. Make sure your friends vote. If you're part of SDLA and you're a part of this, I'm guessing you're going to be voting. Now you'll be voting informed, but make sure you reach out to everyone else with what you learned tonight.
And it is important. I think one of the big things that we always talk about or try to highlight, a lot of people are going to be voting this year. In fact, a record number of people. We registered an additional 2 million voters in the last 2 years thanks to automatic voter registration. We have the highest percentage of registered voters since the 1950s, I believe, in California. So it's quite incredible that we have so many potential voters. What we'll have is some people who have never even had even seen a ballot. They're going to be receiving one or have received one in the mail. That gets kind of scary. And we're going to have a lot of people who maybe think, well, I know what's happening on the national level, but I'm going to stop right there. So informing ourselves, informing our neighbors, informing everyone we know about down ballot races is one of the most important things we can do. We try to tell people all the time, like, it's great and, well, under this president, maybe we shouldn't say that, but for the most part, The choice you make at a city council level is going to have much more effect on your daily life than who the president of the United States is. We're in a little bit different time, so I don't know if we can say that this time. But, it's definitely an issue, and these propositions are really important. It has to go to the funding of our schools, how we're going to classify workers in the future. It has to go to issues about righting racial wrongs of our past. So there's a lot that's on that ballot, and we hope that you all do your part in helping educate others and encourage people to vote, not only for president, but all the way down the ticket.
Yeah, make sure you vote.
Don't get on webinars when you're drunk. Enjoy, guys.
Oh man, that was so amazing. Thank you, Supervisor Fletcher and Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, drive safe. Okay, you too. All right, everyone. I'm now pleased to welcome. I'm now pleased to welcome Scott Lewis from Voice of San Diego, who's going to lead our workshop tonight, overviewing the ballot. Make sure you have all your microphones muted. You get to hear Marco's family right now. He's at his tia's house, probably eating good. Anyway, so I'm pleased to welcome Scott Lewis of Voice San Diego. He's the CEO and editor-in-chief. I was going to give Nathan a shout out quickly. You can read his most recent op-ed on one of the propositions on Voice right now. But I think I'm happy to say we're a nonprofit newsroom that does our best to provide accountability journalism for San Diego. We rely on community support, and I think a big part of our community is the SDLA community. So for me, this is a nice double. I don't know, when you put both your worlds together. I'm biased because I work at Voice of San Diego as a development director, so it's extra exciting for me to bring this to the SDLA community. Mark, if you can go ahead and make Scott the main screen, and we will let him take it away. Thanks so much for being here, everyone.
Well, hi, everybody. Everybody can hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, listen, I'm honored to be here. Thanks, Ashley. And I've spoken before to this group over the years, and I've seen so many of its members move on to important positions in the community, and so honored to do it this year as well. So I asked Ashley if she wanted me to do like my full Rotary presentation type thing, or just really rap with you guys about everything that we've been thinking about and trying to understand over the last kind of deep voice. Is that better at all? Better? Anything?
I think it's getting heavy on the treble. Is it just me, all, or is it like that for you?
It sounds like you're doing your best Nathan Fletcher impression.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I use, this is what I do the podcast in, so maybe it's doing something weird. I'll just try to speak up, I guess. So I just thought we could rap about a lot of these issues and try to understand them deeply. And I think that's what I'd like to do today, is just get underneath all of them, so that I think if you can really grok what is behind them and what the context is, you can often explain them better and go about what you do with them a little better. So let's talk about property taxes for a minute. Property taxes are on the ballot this year, and in a couple of different ways for San Diegans, and I think it's important to understand them. But first of all, step back and remember what property taxes are. Right now, you pay 1%. You own a house, for example, you pay 1% on that house for what it's been assessed at. Now, that doesn't mean that what your value in Zillow is what it's actually, assessed at the county. That assessment takes place when you purchase it. And so some people, I have a neighbor in Ocean Beach, a house that's probably worth $900,000. She bought it in the 60s, and its assessed value is something like $30,000 right now. So she pays 1% on that every year, and it only goes up to 2% every year after that, based on the assessment. So the assessment can go up, but it's not something that will ever keep pace with how much that house has moved up in value. That, of course, happened because of the 1978 Prop 13. Prop 13 is a constant conversation in local public affairs, in state public affairs, and frankly, nationally. California obviously has this impression of being a high tax state or whatever. We have very low property taxes in many cases, but have supplemented what happened at Prop 13 with some more income taxes and such. So other states, of course, continued to watch property values go up and assess them accordingly. So now that doesn't mean that there weren't other property taxes put on top of that every year, and there are this year, though not in San Diego specifically, but in other school districts, there are bonds and increases to the property tax put on every year. And those are usually assessed as measurements per $100,000 of property of assessed value. So in the city of San Diego, for example, most San Diego Unified District, most of the city of San Diego is covered by the city of San Diego, the school district, the San Diego Unified School District. And that district, for the last 12 years, has put up 3 different property tax increases for construction. Now, construction bonds and increases to the property tax to fund them can be implemented with just 55% of the vote. So it makes it a pretty attractive avenue for school districts that want to see more revenue come in, especially for major maintenance and major construction projects that they have underneath. So there is taxes added to the base 1% that people pay on their property taxes, and most of those are construction bonds for schools. Now, there's other things. There's a little tax for the zoo. There's a little thing, a couple other things on there, but those are the major things. This year, in the city of San Diego, there is a big vote about Measure A. And Measure A would allow the city of San Diego to borrow up to $900 million and to increase property taxes within the city of San Diego, $3 to start and up to $21 over time per $100,000 of assessed value. So what does that mean? If you own a home that is assessed at $500,000, then that means if it's at $20 per $100,000, you're going to raise that person's tax $100 per year. So for the lady who has the assessed value of $30,000, it's a much smaller hit for her. She continues to watch that assessment deliver for her for years to come. So that is sort of the status quo. Now that money for Measure A, if they do borrow up to $900 million, that money would be matched with state and federal funds to build permanent, supportive, affordable housing units for the poorest people in San Diego. And there are a lot of people obviously in favor of that. It is being led by the Housing Federation. We had a debate last week in PolitiFest between Councilman Chris Cate and Sue Reynolds, who's been a longtime nonprofit housing developer in the city of San Diego. Sue is retiring this year, and this is kind of one of the last things she's trying to get across the board before I'm sure she doesn't rest when she's done, but it's a fascinating issue. That's how that tax will work. Measure A on the ballot. Now, as a specific tax for a specific purpose, it will require 2/3 of the vote. And it was placed on the ballot by the city council. So any other arguments that you hear about, maybe 2/3 doesn't matter for certain citizens initiatives, don't count for this one because it is placed on the ballot by the city council, will require 2/3 vote. So it's a pretty significant property tax increase, though probably not too noticeable for many families, but it's a tough thing to do during a recession like this. That's the counter argument. And then the other counter argument against it, of course, is the concern about how much money goes into affordable housing. Some of these per unit costs are rather high. And then, whether that whole system is the best way to do it. Is it delivered, it's kind of delivered by lottery to win some of these units. It's one of the only social welfare benefits we offer that's delivered by literal lottery. On the other hand, we need permanent supportive housing units. We have no funding mechanism for them after redevelopment dissipated a long time ago. And thus, Measure A provides a new revenue source that could be used to build thousands of units in San Diego. And thousands of people would have homes after that. So Measure A is really important property tax angle. The other major property tax thing, I think you both know, we just heard from Nathan, you all know about Proposition 15. Let's just talk about that for a second. Proposition 15, that 1978 Proposition 13, put that cap on all property taxes. And for, again, decades, progressives have been very upset trying to figure out ways that they could ever pull that back. But it became part of the culture and part of residential sort of, it's sacrosanct for residents and their homes. And so what they decided to do a while ago is to figure out a way to split the role, to somehow figure out how you could protect it for people who own their own homes and for residential units, and then but still allow property values for commercial properties to start to go with the market in assessments so that the taxes could keep up as well. That's called split roll. So if you ever hear split roll, that's what that's called. And so they want to split the roll, and they finally got on the ballot as Proposition 15. So if commercial properties, if you own more than $3 million in commercial properties, and that does not count apartments, this is for shopping centers, hotels, anything that's non-residential. Country clubs are a big target. If you own anything like that, then starting in 2023, and the legislature has to pass new laws to make clear how this will exactly work, assessors will begin to reassess your property toward that, what is considered the market value. It's estimated that assessors, county assessors, will have to hire about 1,000 people across the state to go about this work of reassessing these commercial properties. Now, there are, again, exemptions for if you own less than $3 million of this property. There's some exemptions for farms, but the main one is that $3 million threshold. It also, in order to help small businesses with this, repeals some taxes, personal property taxes, that businesses have to pay. So if they own large equipment and they pay taxes on it, those will all be repealed. It's to help them manage the blow of what is essentially a large increase on some of these commercial properties. Again, it's not clear exactly how fast and how it would change. Their laws have to be written after this passes, and the assessors have to go about the work of reassessing these properties. So I think it's a really important one to know the heart of if you're going to try to explain it to people, to make sure that they understand that it doesn't affect residential units. But one of the other contentions that come out says, well, it doesn't affect these small businesses because they won't own this much property to go over that threshold. That may be true, but a lot of people who are opposing this have come up with a reason why they think that might not hold, and that is that a lot of small businesses rent their properties through leases in shopping centers or whatever office buildings, and those leases include provisions that pass along these increases in taxes to the tenants, and so there really could be a pass along of those costs to the tenants, and that is the concern that Councilman Todd, or the Assemblyman Todd Gloria, has cited in his reason for opposing or not taking a stance supporting Proposition 15. There's been several local Democrats, I highlighted them the other day, who have been unwilling to endorse this. I found that shocking because this has been such a high priority for progressives in the state of California for so long. So that concern about small businesses and a few other things are going to hurt it. On the other hand, this would allow a tremendous amount of money. They say $700 million for the county of San Diego, not just the county, that includes school districts, includes all the array of property tax beneficiaries in San Diego. And one of the arguments to the small businesses that are worried about it is that, hey, if you want good schools, if you want good roads, if you want the things that make for good small business, you should support this. But that's going to be the real tension. I'm going to be glued. The first thing I look for on November 3rd in the evening is the results of Prop 15. I think that the way that this comes out will dramatically shift the future of California public affairs either way. And so property taxes are on the ballot, and you guys should understand just how they work. The other one, obviously, that I think has significant, and Lorena Gonzalez mentioned this one as well, is the Proposition 22. And remember that at the heart of Proposition 22 is the very definition of what a job is, right? I'm sure you've gone through this, and I'm used to speaking, by the way, to people who don't know things very well. So if you already know so much of what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, but let's just go through this real quick. There were legal decisions that said if you do the work of a business, if you're a journalist at a newspaper, if you're a baker at a bakery, if you are doing the usual work of a business, then you should be treated legally and contractually as an employee. You should have minimum wage. You should have all the other benefits and insurance that come with being an employee. That was a legal decision that came down. Now, what Lorena Gonzalez and other legislators took up is the effort to codify that legal decision into law and to provide reasonable exemptions from it. And that was, of course, AB 5. And now AB 5 provided a tremendous number of exemptions, including for journalists. And that journalist exemption was improved or enhanced in this latest update to the law. So there are a number of exemptions for professional services, for lawyers, for mortgage brokers, all kinds of things that were allowed to continue to serve as independent contractors and not force those employers to turn them either into an employee or let them go. But there was no exemption ever provided for drivers who service delivery apps like Uber, DoorDash, and Lyft. And they were not happy about that and have raised more money than I've ever seen. Maybe I'm wrong. In California initiatives, hundreds of millions of dollars to create a third category of employment in California. And that would be a driver of a delivery app. And that's Proposition 22. And so I think it really is important to understand as a new definition of work. Not just income, but as a new definition of a job, because they wanted to provide in there actual benefits, because they recognize there should be benefits for some of these drivers, but they don't want to treat them like employees. And this is another one to understand the heart of. Their argument, and they've expressed it many times, is that they are not hiring these drivers. They are merely connecting the drivers to the people who need a drive, and that they are just the pipes in between, and that their real employees are the people who manage those pipes, who create that connection. And they've tried a couple of things to make it clear that that's their purpose, that that's what they've achieved. They've tried to make it so that drivers can turn down people by seeing where they want to go before they actually go get them. So very minor tweaks to how they operate to try to make it clear that these aren't employees. These are actually just people who are using this software. Now, one of the real interesting cases is the case of what are they called? The shoppers, Instacart. So Instacart operated in San Diego, and Instacart has these shoppers that go around and go to grocery stores and pick up groceries. Well, Instacart, again, takes this position that they're merely connecting these shoppers with people who need food. But The San Diego City attorney led a lawsuit against them saying, no, this violates the law. You are actually telling those people where to go. You're telling them what to buy. You're directing their every move, basically. Therefore, you're treating them like employees. Thus, they should be employees, get the benefits of employment. And so she sued. She won, but it was put on hold to see how this initiative and other things come out. That's what's at stake with this. If this initiative passes, those kinds of actions will fall. If this initiative does not pass, then public attorneys of all sorts will be emboldened to go after these companies to make sure that they treat their employees or these drivers as employees. And that's a real significant impact. Now, these companies say they will leave if that happens, and the drivers worry that their income will leave with them. I think it would be interesting to see if a company emerged that provided a literal sort of trading mechanism that was just like truly independent of the drivers and the clients, or if a service came up that said these are actual employees, we're going to treat them like employees, and just see how that would work out. But that's what's at stake with this, and it truly is fascinating. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm not going to go through every initiative. It would take too long. I do think there is another one that is worth explaining because we focused on the property taxes. There is another property tax initiative on the ballot, and that's Proposition 19. And this is really, really interesting. Yeah, should I answer questions as they come? I'm fine doing that. Can you clarify what a third class of employee is? Okay, so the first class is an employee. Like you have certain employment benefits. You have certain minimum wage requirements. You have to get fired. It doesn't mean that you have to work. It doesn't mean that you can't be flexible. You can get paid per. You can still get a commission. You can still do a lot of things as an employee, but you're an employee. And you can, importantly, organize a union at your workplace. The second type that I was describing is an independent contractor. An independent contractor is really serving as a business on the side. So we, as a journalist operation, we have mostly full-time employees. We do have photographers who provide photographs every once in a while that we pay for, and we don't have them on as employees. Those are independent contractors. They work sporadically and often just sell photos as they come back. So Proposition 22 creates a third class, which is this sort of driver class. You can drive for an app, and you can have access to this health insurance fund. You can have access. You're supposedly guaranteed a certain amount of a minimum wage, though not minimum wage for whatever reason. And as drivers bring up sometimes, it doesn't guarantee them that they'll get paid while they're working on their car, for example, to make sure that they can work. Okay, so I hope that makes that clear, Scott and Isabel. Will employer pay Social Security taxes? I am not certain on that. I don't believe so. I can double check on that. But no, I don't believe there's withholding. Let me double check and I'll make sure I get back to that. Let me do Proposition 19 real quickly. So there was, we like to call this lovingly our Liam Dillon law, an amendment. So Liam Dillon is a writer for the LA Times. He used to write for Voice of San Diego. That's why we're very proud of him. And he wrote a story about how actor Jeff Bridges owned a Malibu mansion. And he got that from, he and his siblings got that from his parents, who had bought it obviously for very much less money back in the day, and thus paid that property tax on a very small amount for a property that Jeff Bridges and his siblings were renting out for $15,000 a month. So they were paying taxes like what my neighbor was for a house valued at 1978 prices, and they were making a tremendous amount of profit off of that. So when he discovered that, they wrapped that problem into another idea. The realtors really want some of these older people who live in these homes that are probably too big for them, that they've had for a long time, that they have this very low property tax rate, and they don't want to sell these homes because they don't want to lose that property tax advantage. If you're paying property tax on a valued home that's $30,000 home when it's really $1 million, you go move into $1 million home, you're going to start paying a lot more in annual property taxes. And if you're an older person, you're not going to want to do that. It's going to be a real hard hit. And so what Proposition 22 does is it says, okay, you can take this property tax basis that you've been paying and you can go to a smaller or a house of equal value or lower value. You can take that property tax with you, but at least this frees up the other one. Realtors love it because they want to see some of these homes on the coast start turning over and they want to represent them. Within that, they have gotten rid of this loophole, this Jeff Bridges Malibu mansion loophole. And they've said that if you're not living in the home, you don't get to benefit from this tax basis. You're going to have to start to see that go up. And so Jeff Bridges would have to pay the normal property tax on that mansion. That's Proposition 19. And that's why it has now, there was a previous version of it that didn't quite make it. And this one has got a lot more support and thus will, I think, have a better shot. And I think, so this is only for people who are 55 or older, or for people who are victims of like fire, or I think there's like people with disabilities, a few other people like that fit into that. So basically, if you are older or a victim of fires, you can protect that tax rate you've been paying, that tax basis you've been paying, and buy a new place. So the property tax election, property taxes. Let me check one thing on 22. I'll have to look at that better. Sorry, I don't understand whether, I don't think that they pay Social Security withholdings, but I cannot be certain on that. And I've already made a mistake like that before. Okay. Those are the ones I wanted to go over on the state ballot. Now, I can speak authoritatively on many of the other ones if you would like, but I wanted to go into the local ones if that's okay. So we did Measure A. That was a property tax increase. Measure B is a really important one as well. I do not think it'll have trouble passing, but it's worth understanding. The city of San Diego has long had a commission to oversee police misconduct and do some investigative work on it. But they have not had subpoena power, and they have had to rely on a lawyer appointed by the San Diego City Attorney. Now, obviously, the San Diego City Attorney has interest in protecting the city of San Diego, including its police officers. So for a long time, people have advocated for A, that they could get their own lawyer, and B, that they could have subpoena power. Without subpoena power, I know as an investigative reporter, you can do a lot, but you can't do what people with subpoena power can do, which is truly investigate and find documents that people do not want to give you. And thus, subpoena power is very important. Now, as it's been made clear to me, if this commission did get subpoena power, the subpoena power probably would never actually be leveraged, maybe only once or twice, because the understanding that it exists would itself unlock witnesses and access to documents, just knowing that that power is there. So Measure B would give a new commission on police practices subpoena power and an independent attorney, and it is supported by and large by most of the folks that matter, or not opposed by most of the folks that matter. I do not know that it'll have much power passing, but it is important to understand and would have significant impacts on police and misconduct investigations. All right, Measure C. Measure C is about San Diego Unified School District. Now, one thing to really understand about this, again, I want you to get to the heart of what's at stake and why we're doing a lot of the things we're doing, why we're having these votes, what's behind them. What's behind this one is that the city of San Diego and the San Diego Unified School District are different entities, but the city of San Diego's charter, the city charter, which is kind of the constitution of cities, the city charter is also the chartering document for the San Diego Unified School District. Sorry, I got yelling going on. Just a sec. Hey, stop yelling. Sorry. All right. So the city of San Diego's charter, the city charter, has in it the governance instructions for San Diego Unified School District. So when you want to change the governance of San Diego Unified School District, you actually have to put a city charter up, which means the city council gets to decide if that goes on there. And so I think you can change the charter either with a city council decision to put it on the ballot, or citizens initiative can get pulled together to put something on the ballot to change the city charter. What has happened here is the San Diego City Council has decided to put on the ballot a change to the charter of the San Diego Unified School District that says that it governs how elections work. So what you actually have is a situation where people who, the city of San Diego and San Diego Unified School District cover almost the same boundaries, but not all of them. There are people in the northern part of the city that are in like Poway or San Dieguito school districts, and there are people in San Isidro that are part of a different school district. But everybody gets to vote on the San Diego City Charter, and thus they get to vote on this measure, which would change the elections for San Diego Unified School District. Right now, if you're running for San Diego Unified Board, you run in a sub-district in the primary, and the two people who are in the primary, at the top of the primary, move on to the runoff, and the runoff is run across the entire district boundary, which means almost across the entire city. Now, this is how elections used to work in a lot of places, but there's been a movement across the country and in California to make it so that council districts or districts represent themselves. The at-large is out and districts are in. That change has swept almost entirely across all of the regions except San Diego Unified. And so San Diego Unified has, for a long time, of course, you run in the sub-district, and then you have to run across the whole district, the whole actual district, which is the entire city of San Diego. Which you run in a mayor's race or a city attorney's race, it's very difficult to run an effective campaign, and it takes a lot of resources across that entire area. So this makes it so that they would be true districts, and the candidates would run in the sub-district for the primary, and then they would run in the sub-district for the runoff as well. And that's what Measure C is. Measure D kind of just clarifies how school board members can be removed. This was placed not coincidentally after allegations against Kevin Beiser had become public on the San Diego Unified School District board. He remains on the board. There was a lot of work after Bob Filner was mayor of the city of San Diego to make it clear how elected officials can be removed from office by their colleagues if allegations emerge that are of enough concern. And now this basically makes it consistent for San Diego Unified School District as well. That's Measure D. Okay. Now, the last one I want to do here is Measure E. Measure E is for the entire Midway District, Community Planning District of the city of San Diego. That is not just the sports arena. That is the entire Midway Pacific Highway Community Plan. The community plan was already updated, but like other areas west of I-5 in the city of San Diego, they are under a strict voter-imposed 30-foot height limit. There are other height limits across the city, but this one was imposed by voters, again, back in the 70s, just like Prop 13, that said that any construction west of I-5 in the city of San Diego needs to be 30 foot or less, and you can only get an exemption for this if you get the voters to approve that exemption. That has only happened one time before, and that was for SeaWorld in 1998. SeaWorld successfully campaigned and got the voters to approve their ideas to build roller coasters, which are still being built. So this would be the next amendment to ever be accepted to that, providing the exemption to that 30-foot height limit for the entirety of the Midway Pacific Highway Community Plan. That stretches from the Old Town area all the way through Sports Arena. So it's not just the Sports Arena land. Now, the Sports Arena land is city land, including the Dixieland Lumber, the Phil's Barbecue. That's all city land. And so the city has tried to strategically let those leases expire and try to get it to the point where they could renegotiate that whole area and try to get a vast redevelopment of the whole area. That is dependent, unquestionably, on this height limit being increased. However, it would have, again, impacts on the entire plan, and thus a lot more housing could get built, a lot more value and redevelopment, a lot more investment in infrastructure and parks and open land could occur in that area, and it would be able to hit its targets for the new community plan that was set, which is including tens of thousands of more homes than were previously allowed in the area. Let's see, I'm just looking at the questions. I thought there was a California court decision that mandated district elections at all levels. Yes, there was, and there was a threat that would be applied to San Diego Unified if they didn't change. San Diego Unified decided to put up this ballot measure and support it and not have to go through all of that. Let's see, Jeremy's. Hello, Will. Oh, Will Moore. Hello, Will Moore. Wow. Do you have thoughts on ballot measures on a macro level? Is it a small d democracy good? Prop 25 is troubling. I'm against money bail, but I'm worried. Okay. Well, I don't know. I grew up covering California politics, and it feels insane that we vote on so many different things. But charter amendments should be voted on by the people. The charter is our Constitution, and most of the things the city of San Diego, the 4 of the 5 major ballot measures that the city of San Diego is dealing with are charter amendments. And so, they do change the very structure of, the taxes. And so 3 of the 5. So they do change the structure of our government, and we probably should include citizens on that. I do think it gets out of hand. Obviously, we shouldn't be voting on dialysis. I've never understood that one, and I'm not going to be able to explain it. And yet we keep voting on it. It brings up a lot of questions in the city of San Diego. The city of San Diego has a rule that you're not supposed to borrow money. The city is not supposed to borrow money, but a vote of the people. And that reluctance to borrow money without having to go to the vote of the people is partly why they got into some of these big controversial lease to own decisions, because they didn't want to go into debt, and thus decided to lease to own 2 major high rises in the city of San Diego. Okay, let's see. Which props has Carl DeMiles Group endorsed or opposed? I don't have it handy. I think I know for sure that he's against most of them, except for the one that's harder on criminal justice, and the one that is against. Oh, and he's probably for the Uber one, Prop 22. I'm interested in Jeremy's comment. Okay, those were all of the props that I'm super familiar with. Again, most of the other ones from the region are going to be school construction bonds. Again, they are able to be passed with just 55% of the vote, as opposed to 2/3, which, if you wanted to raise taxes to pay teachers in a school district, you'd have to do a parcel tax, which is a form of property tax. It's just a flat fee on a property tax. But that requires 2/3 of the vote. So it's kind of crazy that you can build school buildings and raise taxes for them with just a 55% of the vote. But if you want to pay teachers, the very heart of an education system, you have to get a higher vote threshold. You have to. It's harder to pay teachers than it is to just build stuff, and that's partly why we see so many construction bonds go up. And I think whittle away at the taxing capacity we have, while teachers are continuing to not be benefited from it. So I have I've gone through a lot of them now. I'd love to just switch it to questions. I wanted to just kind of wrap with you guys about all of these issues, and if I don't know the answer, I can go dig them. So do we want to just keep doing the chat for that, or somebody want to step up?
Folks,
I have a
yeah, go ahead.
I have a verbal question for you. I can put it in rather than put in the chat. So
Yeah.
It actually builds upon what you were just talking about with schools being able to run bonds on for construction. So is that since that passes at a lower vote, is that opening up other funds to do more flexible things like pay teachers more or do that type of thing? So like it actually, even though it's not a direct way to support those kind of other pieces of the education system, is it a roundabout way to do that? And or have you seen them do that?
The school district I know the best is San Diego Unified, and they have maxed that out. They
Okay.
pay now, I think, 97% or 96% of their budget goes to their salaries. They have literally chopped every possible way they could pay for other things off with the bonds. They have about $3 billion left of bonding capacity that they've already had approved. And they have about $500 million still unspent from what they have pulled out. So partly why I'm optimistic that they can maybe make some adjustments with the COVID challenge right now is that they do have a significant amount of money in things that you can buy, tangible things that you can buy that they have money available for. iPads, that's why they were able to get Chromebooks out so fast. Plexiglass, all the things that they think they need to get, they have the money there for it. They could even build tents and stuff. But they do not have any extra capacity for teachers right now. Does Prop 16 mean what I think it means, or is there something hidden in there? Let's look at Prop 16, and I'll remember which one that is. That is the youth voters. It would allow people on parole to vote. It would, let's see. Oh, this is just parole. No, that's 17. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. 16.
Yeah, 16 overturns Prop 209.
Oh yeah, this is the affirmative.
I think 16 is Assemblymember Weber.
Yeah, this is
I think,
affirmative
right?
action. Yes, you could. Uh, this is important to remember that back in 1996, of course, they made affirmative action illegal, and this would reverse that. So let's see. It wouldn't create quotas for university admissions. Those were banned by the Supreme Court, but it would allow you to set goals for how many contracts they award to women and minority-owned firms, that sort of thing. Let's see.
More questions?
I'm not
Can
at
I
all.
ask a clarification on that Prop 16
Yeah.
too? So I think if my understanding is correct, part of the reason, part of the way things operate now is you are not allowed to ask certain questions about demographics, or that those are, protected from any kind of decision-making process. And so it's actually opening up the data set that would also allow that information to then be operationalized, for lack of a better way to put it. I think that is your understanding as well?
I shouldn't speak authoritatively on that. I'm sorry. I'm better at local stuff. Somebody else would need to take that one. I do really like the Cal Matters guide to all the propositions, and recommend that highly. And we also did our own podcast. It's up in our Voice San Diego podcast feed, going through all of them. But I'm not able to answer that. Takes great
That's all good.
strength
I'll pull up
to.
I'll try to pull that up and put it in the.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just dropped it in, Aaron, the Cal Matters voter guide.
Awesome. Thank you.
I don't know if perhaps resident Albert Velasquez might know about that. He tends to.
No, but then I'm the one that reads I haven't read my big gray voter guide, right? The big magazine that comes out, right? Yeah, because I just had a question, and Scott, you had brought this up. I just find it fascinating why it does these dialysis propositions keep coming up. Right?
I knew somebody was going to do it.
Yeah, because it's like we had this like 2 cycles ago, and now it's back. Now it's Prop 23, right? So
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm just trying to understand, like, are they, because they're these big companies, right? So are they really so concerned that their costs are going to go so high because they have to actually put like a medical doctor or a medical person at the clinics, right? That's the whole deal of this proposition, right?
Yeah, it requires clinics to have one doctor present at all operating hours. And the union, I've never quite understood why the union wants it. I mean, obviously I just don't understand. No, that's exactly what it does, but it's just been an ongoing battle between the union and those companies, and we keep having to solve it for them, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't understand that one very well.
No problem. Thanks, Scott.
I always thought that it was because they're non-union, and so therefore it's a leveraging of the union against the profits that the clinics are, that these particular healthcare providers are making, and they make a lot of money, the dialysis centers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't know doctors were unionized. So, or is it the workers around them?
It's the workers.
Got it. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I don't understand it very well. But yes, you guys are sharing good information between each other.
There's another question in the chat that I think is a good one from Jeremy Bloom. Although we're a nonpartisan organization, 501c3, everybody. But what do you think about party-on-party races? And right now, obviously, San Diego is a lot of Dem-on-Dem.
Well, I asked this question a lot, and we had a discussion with some of the folks from the 10th and 11th floor San Diego City Hall. 10th floor is where the council offices are, and 11th floor is where the mayor's office is. And I asked them to help sort of outline what's going to happen, because we are becoming a one-party city almost wholly. I mean, there's a very good chance only one Republican on the could remain on the council, and they kept saying and insisting that like every issue is going to be different. Every issue is going to have different divisions. But I do believe that there are a few that are going to stand out. I think that when redistricting happens, I think that there's a good chance that the coastal council becomes one council district, and maybe that brings up a dynamic of that person representing coastal issues in a way that's not always left or progressive in a kind of standard way, a more Barbara Bree type of Democrat. I think that housing in particular, related to that same issue, is going to be a big divider. There are a lot of people very hostile to housing that are going to be Democrats. They're going to identify as liberals, and they're going to be very protective of neighborhoods, especially on the coast. And I think that will be an interesting dynamic to watch. I think that there'll be city council members or politicians like Vivian Moreno in District 8, who is very frustrated and hostile to the unions that opposed her election, and might draw a primary opponent or an opponent because of that, or because of some of the other work she's done on housing and other issues. So I think housing is a really interesting place where some of these could break down. Transportation. Do you believe in transit? Do you believe in progressive taxing to get there? I think that will be an interesting. Look, the battles in local government will always be fierce. They will always be very important and have major consequences. And partisanship will give way. Maybe it's only recently that partisanship really became a major bifurcation on the San Diego City Council, for example. There was, when I first started covering San Diego City politics, unions regularly endorsed Republican candidates. People like Brian Mainshine, Jim Daffer got the public employees benefit. I think the firefighters endorsed Kevin Faulconer over Lorena Gonzalez in 2006. And part of the reason that he won that city council race, what would our lives be like if she had won that one? It'd be much different. And she when she became the head of the Labor Council, and Carl DeMaio when he was on the city council, a few other things happened around that period that really made the partisan lines a lot starker and a lot more determinative in some of these debates and campaigns. And that's lasted now 15, 14 years. And so I think maybe it's now giving way to a new reality where the Democrats won that, and we'll start to see a lot of definition and delineation between their own work. Let's see. Gasps. I remember that race. That 2006, it's a lot of really interesting debates going on at that time.
All right. Do we have any other questions for Scott? I am sensitive to the fact that he's a huge Padres fan, and this happened.
I've not at all been distracted. I did notice they're up 2-1, and I did watch how that happened in the corner of my eye, and I appreciate your patience with me.
Pretty impressive that you can dole out so much information while simultaneously taking in the most statistically heavy game in the world. Anybody got questions? Last chance, and we'll let Scott go. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything. We really appreciate you being here and giving us this inside look at what's on our ballot. I hope the Padres pull it out tonight and get this going for the series. Everyone, it was great to see you. If you want to stick around and chat, you're welcome to. But otherwise, have a great night.
Thank you, guys, and good luck. And if you did have any lingering questions, I have a lot of people that can help me answer them. So let me know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Scott. Have a great evening.
Cheers.
Go Padres.
Go Pods.
Well, that was fun.
I thought that was so fun.
That was great. Are we still recording?
I believe so, yes.
Should I stop recording?
Yeah, you should stop recording.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Recording is stopping now.
I saw